Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we live in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today I thought I would share with you what I've got in my plant stash already. Today's April 15th, it's early in the season and yet I have set myself some big challenges for planting this year. So I'm going to share with you what I have in my stash and where every plant is going to go. My challenge for myself today is to make sure I know where every one of these plants is going to end up in the garden, and that way I won't have orphaned plants, abandoned plants, withering, dying plants on my driveway all season long. So come with me and let's talk through what's in my plant stash and, more importantly, where everything is going. It's my mission this year to not let any plants languish on the driveway the entire season. I really want to be a much better steward of my garden and steward of my pocketbook by not investing in plants that don't get proper care. I know that I'm not alone. I know that a lot of us buy plants not knowing where they're going to go at the moment of purchase. This year, I think I've done a really good job of not buying anything unless I know exactly what I'm going to use it for and where I'm going to put it. There might be a straggler or two, but I know I'm confident that I'll have a plan for it before the season's over. I'm not sure exactly where to start because I have plants for all different parts of the garden going on here. So let me just start with what's right here behind me. I've got two trays that are almost full of Sweet William plants. Now, Sweet William are in the Dianthus family, I believe. These particular Sweet William plants I bought at the gift shop at Kew Gardens in London, England last summer. So these are pretty special to me because it was a dream trip to England, and we spent an entire day at Kew Gardens. It was wonderful. And the gift shop, they had these and some other seeds as well. These are Indian Carpet Sweet William and Crown Double Mix Sweet William. So these are biennial to my understanding, so they'll have a plant this year and flowers next year. Although last year I had a friend give me some Sweet William seedlings and they did bloom. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm not counting on these blooming until next year, but I know exactly where they're going to go. I have some Sweet William that my friend gave me last year, and I'm just going to add these into that area. Hopefully, by putting these in that same spot, I'll have a cycle going on where I always have some Sweet William of one kind or another in this general garden area. It's on the driveway fence on the inside down toward the patio. So that's where these are going to go. These are hardy in our area, so I didn't have to do much indoors with them. I sprouted them indoors and then brought them outside to grow on outside. So they've got their second set of leaves and they are coming right along. Yay. On the steps over here, I've got 4 containers of lettuce. There are 4 different types of lettuce there. I've got Butter Crunch, Little Gem, Chalupa Romaine, and Tom Thumb lettuces going right here. And then up that way I've got another one. I think it's more Butter Crunch. So I'm planning to put these into the vegetable garden, and I'm planning to succession sow. Now I have way more lettuce plants here that I'm going to need for my own purposes, so I'm going to be sharing this with friends or neighbors, whoever needs lettuce at the time. 2 gallon-sized containers of Gina phlox. This is a tall garden phlox. I already have some Gina phlox in the backyard. It's in the bottom of the hill down in the backyard by the Cherokee Princess dogwood tree, and it blooms beautifully. It lasts a really long time in the summertime. Birds, butterflies, bees, hummingbirds all love it. Gina variety is one that is studied by, and the results by Mount Cuba Center are really positive as far as hardiness and prolific flowers, pollinator attractions, and also I believe it's really strong in terms of resisting powdery mildew. So I already have 1 clump that I bought 2 or 3 years ago, and it started this size and it is now about this size. So it's slow to spread, but it does spread, widening itself. So I'm going to add these 2 to that same area so that I can have a bigger, more beautiful clump of Gina phlox. And speaking of that same garden down by the Cherokee Princess dogwood, I bought 5 of these. I only brought 2 of them over. I have never grown this plant, but last year when we were in England, every garden I visited had these plants in it, and I was wondering, what the heck is that? It looks so strange, and I learned that it is Jerusalem sage, or phlomis. So I bought myself 5 of these puppies. These are going to go down in that same garden bed by the Genuflux, behind the Genuflux toward the back gate, if you can picture that in your mind. Phlomis tuberosa is an evergreen according to the tag. We'll see if that's evergreen in our garden. And it wants full sun, which it won't get down there. So hopefully it'll live with as much sun as it gets. Water regularly until established. So I'm going to have to make sure that the soil stays moist. It gets to be 48 to 60 inches, 4 to 5 feet tall. Right now these are about 3 feet tall, I would say. And it widens out to be 24 to 36 inches wide. Now I bought 5 of them. If all 5 of these grow to be 2 feet, 3 feet wide, then it'll be a humongous display of phlomis or Jerusalem sage down in the lower garden. I don't think they're going to get that big because they're not going to get bright full sun. So I'm going to go ahead and plant all 5 of them, and I'll plant them about 18 inches apart. And we'll see how they do at spreading. And I'm sure that I'll be able to just dig them up and move them to another sunnier location if it turns out that I put too many in that one spot. But because the site conditions aren't exactly what they want in terms of sunshine, these might not get that big. So I'm really, really excited to have this in my garden, Jerusalem sage or phlomis, as kind of another souvenir from my trip to England last summer. Now these gallon-sized containers, I actually bought these at the end of last summer of 2023. And this is the only plant that overwintered in my driveway. Actually, it was up on the courtyard without being planted before winter came last year. So I didn't succeed at getting my plant stash all the way planted last year, but almost. Although I have to remember how many seedlings lived on the driveway until they died, and I had to throw them away in October. So yeah, I guess I didn't do very well last year. Anyway, so these are Japanese anemones, fall planted ones. These are Serenade variety, so they have a lovely pink flower. They bloom in late summer to early fall. They want to be planted in sun or part sun. They prefer well-drained soil. They grow 2 to 3 feet tall, and you're supposed to space them 18 inches apart. So where are these going to go? Well, these are planned to go into an area that hasn't been built yet. And I have this new garden area in my head, but I haven't got it into the ground. And so that's what happened to these last year. I knew that I wanted to plant these in that location, but I didn't get to planting them because I didn't get to creating the space for them. So it is on the docket for this year for sure. We're going to be creating a new planting bed, and I'll tell you about that in another video. But this is going to go into the new bed. Now it looks like 2 of them lived through the winter and 1 of them didn't make it. Although I'm going to keep holding on to this and keep it watered in case it wants to be a late bloomer. But we at least have 2, maybe 3 of these Serenade anemones. 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 Anemone. I have 3 of these. I'm only bringing 2 over to the table here. These are beautiful epimediums. These are the Raspberry Rhapsody variety of epimedium. Now, these are going to go into the north side shade garden where I currently have pink champagne epimedium. I was looking and looking and looking for more pink champagne, but the place where I bought it originally doesn't carry it anymore. So I got these. I think they'll look beautiful together. So, epimedium or barrenwort are mostly evergreen, although their leaves do change colors as they grow and age. Mostly evergreen. It wants to be in shade to part shade, so the space I'm going to be putting them gets dappled sunlight. It gets a little bit of direct morning sun for maybe an hour, but it's mostly shade or dappled shade, so that'll be great. They grow about 12 to 16 inches tall, and they spread about 18 inches wide. They have these beautiful, beautiful, really unique flowers on them that look a little bit like jester's hats. They also look a little bit like bishop's hats, so some people call this plant bishop's hat. Hardy to zone 4 through 8, prefers average soil moisture, although after they're established, they can take dry shade. So this is why they're going in the north side. Average soil fertility, plant in a woodland setting, shaded garden or border. So these are wonderful. I love them, and I'm excited to have more of these over in the shade garden on the north side. I saw these at Lowe's. I didn't plan to buy them, but I couldn't pass them up. They're little cups of hens and chicks, and I got these for $4 each. And look how many babies are on these. They're just absolutely loaded with baby hen, or baby chicks, I suppose. Hens and chicks, or sempervivum, are succulent, and they are used as a ground cover. I have options for where I can put these. I can either tuck them into crevices in this garden border on the driveway, or I can tuck them into crevices on the lower stone patio, or I can put them in a pot all together and just have a nice little round pot of sempervivums. Or, there are so many places in the garden where I could put these. They are ready to be planted out. They're falling out of their pots as it is. So I'll probably wait until I see how the garden on the driveway fence does with the plants that I have so far. Maybe they'll go here, but more likely they'll go in the lower garden patio. So I have not only one, but two places where these could go. So does that count for something? I think it does. I think it counts for something. Maybe I can use this second option here to count for a plant that I don't have an idea for. I don't know. Depends on how we write the rules, right? I've mentioned these before. I have 5 of these quart-sized containers of this plant. This is a native perennial in Maryland. It's called Pachyra aurea, also known as golden ragwort. And let's see, it's a native perennial in Maryland. It is a ground cover, so it will grow through the season. It'll be about 4 inches tall with a low green ground cover. But when it's blooming in the spring, which this one is just finishing blooming, they put up these 12 to 15 inch tall flower spikes, and they have these pretty yellow daisy-like flowers on them. Most of these are done now because I bought these 2 or 3 weeks ago. But anyway, golden ragwort, or Pachyra aureus, wants to live in sun or part shade, keep the soil evenly moist. They grow, as I said, about 4 inches tall up to about 15 inches tall. They bloom in the spring, and they're hardy in zones 4 through 9. Now, this is a great plant because it spreads really easily. These flowers will put on kind of like dandelions. They'll have these puffy, white, fluffy seed heads that blow in the wind, and then they root really easily. So don't put this where you don't want it. But if you need native ground cover to get your soil covered, get your keep your soil from having to dry out, and also prevent needing so much mulch, this is a great option. And they're really easy to pull out if you don't like where it landed. So I got 5 of these. I'm going to be putting these down on the driveway fence garden in the 3rd garden section down by the walnut tree. It said here they want evenly moist soil, but I know from experience, I have some of this somewhere else, if they get a little dry in the summer, they'll still live through it. So this is going to be in a dry shade area, and I'll keep it wet while it's getting established, but other than that, these are going to be great down there. Okay, I got 5 of these Winter Gem boxwood, little gallon sizes, and 2 of these Green Mountain boxwood gallon sizes. Now, this was an impulse purchase. It was a design the garden in your head while you're at Lowe's kind of a situation. But you may know that Lowe's every year sells boxwoods in this size for a very reasonable price. The price has gone up in the last couple of years. They used to be under $10. Now they're $10.98 each. But still, I think $11 for a boxwood is a decent price if you're willing to put in the time and energy to grow them yourself. So you can buy bigger ones for larger prices, but really when you do that, you're buying time and effort on the part of the grower to keep the plants healthy as they grow up. So I decided most of my boxwoods, I am buying this small size. Now I bought 5 of these and 2 of these, and as I was standing there, I was thinking I need more structure in my garden. I need more evergreen interest in my garden, and these boxwoods are a really economical way to proceed. So the 5 of the Winter Gem boxwoods, actually all 7 of these are going to go into the north side shade garden. And I'm going to be kind of drawing upon a Linda Vodder style use of boxwoods in that I'm not going to make a hedge. I'm not going to make a row or a curve of them. They're not going to serve as a border. They're going to serve as punctuation of spherical shapes that are evergreen in the garden. And I'll be adding in other types of spherical low-growing shapes. I'm going to keep them once they get there. I'm going to keep the 5 of the Winter Gems in spheres, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and take these Green Mountains and make them into cones. And so that will add some evergreen shape interest, and it'll be a repeated element in that garden. That, along with the hostas that are repeated elements, and the hellebores, and the heuchera, and the barrenwort, all of those together I think are going to make a beautiful shade garden that I'm going to really enjoy over time. Now that north side garden is going to be going through a major renovation this year. I have an idea in my head and I cannot wait to execute it, but I have to wait because it's not time yet to start that project. But over the course of the next, I'm hoping by the end of June, I'll have it done and you'll come along with me on the ride. And these are going to play a part of that renovation. I have three, not just one, three of these Pinka Blue lungworts or pulmonaria. These are from Proven Winners. I bought these at the Homestead Gardens Garden Center down in Davidsonville, Maryland. And I took you on that trip with me, so you can look back at that video and see when I got them. And I have three of them, and I'm going to be adding these either into the north side shade garden, or if not there, then outside the front fence, right up near the fence, I have a section where I've got two other types of lungwort, and I love the way the different types of lungwort play together in a kind of a mosaic. So these may end up near that, but if not, then they'll be inside the fence in the north side shade garden. So again, another plant where I have two options for where they could go, and I think that counts for double, right? All right. Three of these little quart-sized containers. This plant is one of my favorite perennials for fall color. This is Solidago Fireworks, or goldenrod of the fireworks variety. It puts up tall, beautiful stalks. You can see three of them started here, or actually four of them. Tall, beautiful stalks, and as it grows up, it puts out really long side branches that splay out from the center stem like fireworks. And then in the fall, it blooms on those stems that came out, really bright yellow flowers. They look exactly like yellow fireworks in the garden. I love them. I have had them in the past in this garden, but they outgrew the bounds of where I had put them. So I dug them all up and I gave them to a friend. She still has them, and so they're doing really well in her garden. I wanted more in my garden, but I'm going to put them in a different spot this time. These are going to go out on the front corner of our property on the big front hill where it's pretty much, you have to be able to fend for yourself out there because there's no irrigation. So I got three of these. We're going to be putting them out there. They do spread pretty rapidly, but they're really easy to just grab it by the stem and pull it out by the roots. It is no problem at all to pull them out. So if they spread out of bounds where you put them, it's okay. The stats on these are hardy in zones 3 through 9. They want full sun. They want to be stayed evenly moist, which means maybe I'll have to keep them watered after I put them out in that no man's land of that front corner. They grow to be 24 to 30 inches tall and 2 to 3 feet wide, and they bloom in the autumn. So I want to talk about this planter pot that I have here. It looks like I bought it as a ready refill from Lowe's. I did not. I just reused a pot that I had bought last year. But these plants, I just planted them up for myself and made my own ready refill container. I figure these are all summer, heat-loving annuals. And so I planted it up, and I'm pulling it into the garage when the nights get below 50 degrees. But I'm hoping that they'll be nice and full and gorgeous when the daffodils and tulips that I have out there right now are done. And so, what do I have in here? I planted these up myself. I bought all these annuals from Frank's Produce and Greenhouses last week. So, I have here, this is a lantana that is called Landmark. I like lantana that have pink and yellow together. I'm not a fan of the reds, the oranges, or any of the coral, too hot colors, but I love the yellows and the pinks together. And this is an interesting one because, I don't know if you can see this, but this flower head has pink flowers around the outside and yellow in the center, but the ones coming up right after it have yellow around the outside and looks like they're going to be pink in the center. And then and the same thing over here. So it's got a variation of how the flowers come to be, but they're all a soft pink and a soft yellow. To go with the soft yellow, I have this dahlia, which is Dahlietta Shirley. It's petite and versatile for outdoor planters and indoor pots. I also have a truffle of pink gomphrena from Proven Winners right here, so this will get big and puff out this side. And I have this tricolor sweet potato vine that will get big and trail down here. And the sweet potato vine has the creamy color, which mimics sort of the outer petals of the dahlia. And it has the pink on it, which sort of mimics the pink that's coming over here and this pink. And so I think this is a nice mix to try all these together. And then in the center, this will get big and hopefully be a dramatic thriller. I have a Mystic Spire Salvia. I have grown black and blue salvia. I've grown the Proven Winners one, which is Playing the Blues salvia. I didn't see either of those in the garden center this year, so I picked up this Mystic Spires. I know that Janie from Dig Plant Water Repeat loves Mystic Spire salvia, so on her recommendation, I'm trying this out. So I'm hoping this will be a tall thriller, this will be my spiller, and these will all be fillers. This one also will spill out over this way, and actually the lantana will spill out over this way. So hoping to have gorgeous pots in the front porch planters this year by making my own ready refill container. I don't know if you can see any of what I just discussed, but here we go. This tray of annuals matches those containers that I just described. These are some of the same plants in there. I got some extras so that I can spread them out into either the window boxes or into the landscape itself to kind of tie the annual plan together a little bit. So I have, I think, 5 more of the Mystic Spire Salvia, and I have 2 more of the lantana. And so I think the lantanas are going to go into the window boxes for sure. And the Mystic Spires, I'm thinking actually I'm going to plant these in the landscape in a group of 5 to make a sort of a larger than normal for me drift of plants. Let's see, the Mystic Spires, they will grow, they want to be spaced 12 to 18 inches apart. So they don't get as wide as some of the other big salvias do. But they do get to be up to 2 feet tall. So they're not as big as I was remembering or thinking that they are going to be. So maybe the landscape isn't the best place for them. Maybe these will find their way into pots. I have pots on the front porch, and then I have some square planters out flanking the front walk, and maybe these will go into that. Okay, so this might count as a plant, but I don't know exactly where it's going to go. I do have options for it though, so we'll see. It'll be a game day decision. It's going to go out in the front of the house, either in a pot or into the ground. We'll see. Yeah, I think that is the first example of a plant where it might languish in its pot until I figure it out. We'll see. Okay, these plants are also from Frank's Produce and Greenhouses last week. I have 4 of the Snow Princess lobularia, or also known as Sweet Alyssum. These are the Proven Winner variety. These are definitely going into the front window boxes. Yay, I have a plan. Same for these. These are the Bordeaux Supertunia. They got a little cold, so their leaves have darkened a little bit. So I need to be taking better care to put these inside if the nights dip into the 40s. Anyway, I have 4 of the Supertunia Bordeaux. These are also going into the window boxes out front. Hooray, I have a plan. Okay, this tray of plants is kind of a different one for me. First of all, I got 2 of the Prince Tut grasses. This is Graceful Grasses Prince Tut. These are water loving, so these need to go into containers or into an area of the earth that is really wet, stays wet all the time. They perform best if they stay moist. They can even be sat down in water and grow in water. So these will grow to be about 18 to 30 inches tall, so somewhere between what it is now and double that. The more water it gets, the taller it gets. They can be spaced 18 to 24 inches apart. They're hardy as perennials in zone 10. I'm here in zone 7, so these are annuals for me. Let's see. It says normal water, but I know these can sit in water. Full to part sun. You don't have to deadhead them. Uses in the containers and landscape, easy care. So I have, again, this is going to be part of the plan that's going into the north side shade garden. You'll just have to stay tuned and see as progress commences. In the meantime, I might pot these up into bigger pots because the roots are coming out the bottom, and keep them super wet so that they can stay happy as they wait for their final project. But I do know where these are going. I just can't tell you yet. Okay, and then the rest of these in this container are, well, no, not all of them. Okay, so I have 2 Supertunia Mini Vista White. These are going to go into the front window boxes as well, where I will have the Bordeaux Supertunia. I'll have the Snow Princess Lobularia and these Supertunia Mini Vista Whites. I might also pop in something more tall and vertical. Maybe those Mystic Spires will go in there, but I do have the Arborvitaes in there. I can't remember if I bought anything else that's going into those containers. I don't know. We'll see. Now, this is where I'm going kind of off script for me normally. This is the Vermillionaire Cuppa. I've never bought this because I've been put off by the orangish, reddish color. But this is touted by all the YouTubers to be a hummingbird magnet, and I want to draw the hummingbirds into my garden. And I know that pulling red into the garden, red tubular flowers especially, is the best way to pull hummingbirds into the garden. So I thought, let me give this a try. I'm not a fan of the really hot colors, but the hummingbirds are, so maybe I can make a compromise with them. So I'm going to make a container. A nice big container is going to go up into the flower bed that's right beside the patio, but it'll be in a container, so it's not going to be planted in the ground. The Cuppa is going to be the star of the show, the thriller in that planter. But to go with it, I got this hot pink and a little bit of orange lantana. This is the Proven Winners Luscious Royale Cosmo. And so I'm thinking that if I can pull this orange over into the magenta side and into the pinks, then maybe I'll be able to withstand it. So to go with these two, I got this Super Bell's Honeyberry. This has pink outsides and yellow insides, orangish yellow insides. So I'm thinking these three will go together pretty well. And so I'm going to make a container for the hummingbirds out of these three plants. Again, this is a little outside my comfort zone because of all the orange, but I think that this honeyberry and this lantana will calm that down a little bit and still make it pretty for me and attractive to the hummingbirds. What do you think? I also have this Pina Colada lantana that could go into the mix as well. We'll see how big of a pot I choose for it. That's really going to be the determining factor as to whether this lantana goes in this container with these plants or not. If it doesn't, then I will put this out front into a container somewhere. Okay, here's the second plant that I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go. But it's so pretty. The soft, creamy yellow. I mean, it'll find a home for sure, right? Okay. All right, let's start off the bat, and I'll just admit I'm not sure exactly where these are going, but I have a rough idea. These are Lobelia cardinal flowers. This is the Starship Deep Rose variety. These grow 20 to 24 inches tall and 12 to 24 inches wide. Blooms in the summer into the fall. It wants to be in sun or part sun, prefers consistent moisture. So these are a deep kind of fuchsia red color. Show you what the tag says. Sort of into that magenta red color that I am learning to embrace in my garden because the hummingbirds love it. Again, this is another hummingbird attractor. This is a perennial, but I've had trouble keeping this as a perennial, probably because I'm not putting it in moist enough soil. So I'm going to try to put this on an irrigation system that keeps it happy as far as moisture is concerned. I have 3 of these. I think these are going to go out in the front gardens into the new beds that I'm planning to plant out there this year. So I mostly have a plan for where these are going to go, but yes, I'm going to say that's where these are going to go. Okay, I think that's cheating. I don't exactly know where, but I have a general idea. Next up, 3 of these. These are Heuchera villosa, Autumn Bride. Midsummer blooms, 2 feet wide, no, 2 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet wide. Fuzzy chartreuse lime green, nearly evergreen foliage. Tolerates deer pressure. I can deadhead to extend the flowers. So I bought these because 1, they are native in our area. 2, they really look similar to Lady's Mantle. And I've tried 3 different times to grow Lady's Mantle in this garden. I can't get it to do it. And I'm thinking it's because of the black walnuts. I've never grown it near black walnuts before. And our entire property is infested with black walnut juglone. So I'm thinking that maybe that's why I can't get the Lady's Mantle to grow here. So I'm hoping that this will give off a similar look to a Lady's Mantle installation. This blooms in the fall with white, creamy white flowers. Ladies Mantle blooms in the spring with chartreuse green flowers. That's the major difference. The leaf shapes are slightly different, but this is a medium green to chartreuse leaf that is fuzzy. So is Ladies Mantle. The shape's a slightly different shape, but I think these will mimic the Ladies Mantle that I've been trying to grow and can't. So I'm going to be putting these into the backyard along the fence with our neighbors on the north side of the property. It'll be going in kind of an extension from where the, what is that? That's a incredible hydrangea, and then there's the bird feeder on a pole with the camera, and then you go down that border, down along there where those azaleas are right now. That's where this is going to go. So hopefully we'll be able to get a nice big stand of these that mimic Ladies Mantle and are good for our native pollinators. Go away, bee. You don't want my coffee. Hey, look what I found. More stuff for window boxes. Okay, now I'm making sense. Remember when I said I wasn't sure where all those Mystic Spires are going to go? Well, it turns out I have 6 of them, not 5, because here's one more. So that means I can put 3 each in the window box areas. And I also found 2 more of these Lantana Landmark. And so that means that they can go in the window boxes as well. And Dichondra Silver Falls, 2 of those. So 1 of each in the window boxes as well, along with the sweet potato vine, which I found 1, 2, 3, 4 more of here. So this is my window box tray that I had forgotten about until just now. Yay, okay. So that means that in the window boxes underneath the living room and dining room windows, we're going to be having the arborvitae that are in there, 2 each. So each of the window boxes is actually 2 window boxes in a long strip. Remember that, right? And they have 2 arborvitaes in it, which means I have 1, 2, 3 holes that I can put these Mystic Spires in. And they get to be about 2 feet tall at most, so that'll be good. They won't overpower it. And then I have 2 of these Lantanas extra, or maybe 4. I have an even number of these Lantanas that are extra. I have 2 Dichondra Silver Falls, so 1 each in the window box. I have these extra sweet potato vines that will go in there as well. I've got Supertunia Bordeaux, Supertunia Mini Vista White, and what else did I say in that tray? Oh, the Silver Princess Lobularia, the Bordeaux. Yeah, so those window boxes are going to be quite full. And so that means, but they're full of plants that are also in the front porch pots that I made myself in the ready refill container. Are you tracking with me? This might be a little bit confusing. Anyway, I have a big pile leftovers of the plants that I put into those ready refill containers. And that means I can put them into my window boxes or those square planters that are out by the front walk or into other pots that I can cluster up onto the front porch. So plenty of matching annuals for the front porch and window box areas. So yay, I'm so glad that I was smart that way. Okay, guess where these are going? These are beets. Got them at the garden center because my beet seeds failed. And these are going in the veg garden. This is broccoli going in the veg garden. More broccoli going in the veg garden. Cauliflower, guess where it's going? Veg garden. And some yellow Spanish onions into the veg garden. That was super simple. I know where they're going to go for sure. In fact, they might get planted today. We'll see. Might be too sunny for them today. I'm looking for an overcast day to plant these. Next up in the edibles variety, I got a rosemary. This is barbecue variety rosemary, delicious, fresh or dried. I'm going to be putting this in the herb garden. I'm building an herb garden up in the courtyard right here, the little triangle corner. So that's going to go in there. And then these are 2 stevia plants. This is the plant that the artificial sweetener stevia that you can buy along with, you know, the sweetener, other sweetener options that are out there. This is Stevia rebaudiana. It's an herb. It'll grow into about that big of a plant. And you can take the leaves and muddle them in the bottom of a glass, and then it will sweeten your drink for you. So I do this with iced tea. You can do this in cocktails. You can use it in lemonade. It's a 0-calorie, really good tasting thing. If you don't believe me, find someone who's got the plant, ask for a leaf, and then just chew on it for just a second, and you'll taste, it tastes very much like sugar and 0 calories. So it's good for people who need to manage their sugar intake. Hooray. Okay, this is a little weird. I don't know why I bought these because it might have been money unwisely spent, but I got 2 4-packs of pansies. These are sweet little double ruffly flower pansies. I just think that they're so sweet and lovely, don't you? I mean, Who could argue with that? There's nothing wrong with that flower, right? Okay, so the problem is that pansies don't like hot weather, and so we're already in the middle of April. It's going to be 83 degrees today, people. That's just crazy. It's too soon for that heat. These may not last very long, but I'm going to be planting these into the fence pots that I have hanging on pot hangers right beside the gates. There's 2 of them out in the front, and there's 2 of them right here. So I'm going to take 2 pansy plants each and put them in each of those 2 pots. My math isn't working, but believe me, I have enough for what I'm going to do. I am going to put these into those containers, and they'll last as long as they last, but I just couldn't pass them by because they're so cute. So I know where they're going. It's probably just not a smart money decision to plant these at this time of year, but I couldn't pass them by. Okay, this is another impulse purchase. I wasn't out shopping for this, but I got this. Remember when I went to Homestead Gardens and they had their hellebores offered for sale for $40, $40 for the honeymoon series and the wedding party series. And then the unbranded no series hellebores were $30. Well, I found these unbranded, actually no, these are the honeymoon series New York Night dark colored flowers. So these are the ones that would have been $40 at Homestead Gardens, and I found them at Frank's for $15 each. What a bargain. Okay, so these aren't as old. These are probably a year younger than the $40 ones, but I can grow them in my own garden for that savings, $25 savings. So I picked 2 of them up. I don't know where they're going to go, but I have plenty of places they could go. These could go down in the lower patio garden. They could go up here in the north side shade garden. They could go over on this side of the house where I started to put some hellebores. These could go out front underneath the Korean Spice Viburnum where I've started to put hellebores. So lots of places where they could go. Actually, these could go down here in the driveway shade garden down by the walnut tree once I pull out all the daylilies that are down there. So lots of places these could go. So does this count as I don't know where it's going if I have so many options I just haven't chosen? You be the judge. I don't know. Does this count against me or for? Because I think I'm not going to have any trouble finding a place for them. Just haven't chosen it yet. I know exactly where these are going. These are my Homestead Purple Verbenas. These are going to be going into the driveway fence garden. I have 5 left, these 2 plus 3 more, and they're going to go down on the 3rd juniper. I already put 5 in over there and 3 in over here. So these are the last ones I need for that project. So I know exactly where these are going. I think I shared this plant in a different video, but maybe you haven't seen that video yet. I don't know. Anyway, so these are ice plants, or Delosperma cooperi. Ice plants are succulents and they're ground covers. So they grow to be about 5 inches tall, and they have these really pretty pink to raspberry to lavender colored flowers on them. They want to grow in full sun. They bloom in the summer. Requires excellent drainage, and they're drought tolerant. 5 inches tall, 18 to 24 inches wide. I have 3 of these, and these are going to be going into the driveway fence garden. I thought I had room for them, but I think I have to wait now for some of the spring bulbs to die back before I'm going to be able to put these in. I'm not going to put them right on top of the, not right on top of the bulbs, but kind of in between where the bulb clumps are, which I can't get to easily right now because the foliage is all rich and full. So anyway, I'm going to be tucking these in as a ground cover solution for the driveway garden. Okay, so that's all the plants that I've purchased from garden centers that I have in my stash right now. But I do have a lot of seedlings that I've started that I should probably, in all fairness of this challenge, show you and tell you where I think they're going to go so that I can be like really truthful with myself and make sure I really do know where they're going to go. So rather than bring them all over here in their containers, I'm going to take you over there and show you what I've got coming along. I think you've seen all of these now. In these pots right here, I have Blue Planet Ageratum, and these have been all potted up and they're growing now lovely. There's 24 of them here, I think, or so. And no, let's see, there's 33 of them, looks like. And these are going to be used as annuals out in the front of the yard, and they're going to bring common blue repetition around the whole garden. So I'm eager to have all of those. Whew, okay, so We have pink forget-me-nots. These are biennial. These won't flower this year. Look how thick they are in there. I'm going to be using the hunk of seed method, which means I'm just going to take this all out of here and divide it up into little 1-inch squares of seedlings and just plop them down as a big hunk. They're going to go on the driveway garden and up in the courtyard herb area. This is bachelor buttons that I'm going to be putting into the tiered garden beds as a succession of bachelor buttons. I've already got some there that reseeded themselves from last year, but these are a little bit later behind them. And so these will be a succession sowing of bachelor button. These are Blue Boy bachelor buttons. Here I have columbine. These are from the Minnesota Arboretum. These are early bird purple that I harvested off my own plants last year. And these are Biedermeier that I harvested off my own plants last year. So these will all be used, the hunk of seed method, to plant out into the patio garden area. This is hare's tail grass. I'm going to be putting these along the driveway fence garden this year. Oh, I forgot to mention, those are my plugs of Carex. I have a bunch of those to go on the driveway garden as well. Larkspur, larkspur, larkspur. All of this is going into the tiered garden beds. Rudbeckia, there's like one little tiny seedling here. There's some yarrow. The yarrow and the Rudbeckia are going to go out in the front gardens into the new garden spaces that we're creating. Back there, right here, that's some liatris. That'll go anywhere. I can plop those in, but out in the front. This is Starlight Echinacea. Again, all the echinaceas are going to go out front. Anise hyssop. So those are going to be going out front as well. Or maybe on the back side behind our backyard. Oh, I need to move my position so I can see these tags. Cherry Brandy Rudbeckia. I only got 1, 2, 3, 4 seedlings of that. But this one is Rudbeckia hirta, the straight species, Black-Eyed Susans. Those are going to be going behind the, back there at the, behind our fence along the back of the house. And maybe some of these out in the front gardens as well. Lunaria, or Honesty, these are going to be going inside the gate of our back fence. Sweet peas, these will go into the veg garden probably to climb up a trellis. Blue grama grass, on the driveway fence, I think. Blackberry lily, that can go out front. And then inside here, I can't see the tags on them. The tags are all down in there. But all of these plants are going to go in the front garden into the new garden space that we're planning. Here I've got some old-fashioned bleeding hearts that came as bare root that I'm planting up, and 3 of them have sprouted nicely. And the 4th one I'm hoping will sprout, but hasn't yet. These 4 are going to go into the backyard near the patio where I've already got several of this plant, and I'm just going to add more. And the Asiatic lilies that I got as corms, I potted them up. You can see one of them has come up, but the others haven't yet, but hopefully they'll come not too far behind. And these will go in the flower border right beside the patio in the backyard. Hey folks, I think I did it. I think, oh, nope, got more to do. Okay, up here on the wall, I've got a tray of yarrow that I started indoors, and compared to the yarrow that I started outdoors, which is somewhere right there, the indoor sown ones did a whole lot better. So that was a lesson there. Now, the Rudbeckia hirta, which is the green tray here, those are the same as this. So the winter sown ones did a lot better than that. And then that clear plastic container is lettuce. This is a succulent tray that I bought at Lowe's. It's called Garden Tiles, and it's basically a mix of succulents that you can either plant them as is, as a big carpet, or you can cut them apart into clumps. And that's probably what I'll be doing to plant them as more soil management, erosion control on this garden over there. Now down here, these are lance leaf coreopsis, native variety plants that will help our pollinators. These are going to be going either back behind the fence back there or out front in the new garden space that I still have to create. And then here are some things that I got from the Master Gardener greenhouse projects that we're working on. We're doing a native plant sale in May. And so these are some of the natives that we'll be selling. Figwort, I don't know what that is. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. This is sneezeweed. I think this gets pretty tall, so, or I might be wrong about that. I don't know. I don't even know what these two are, but I have them. And then this is blue mist plant. This, I believe, is a perennial form of ageratum. I could be wrong about that. And then I have this pot of Walker's Low Nepeta that I pulled out when I planted the junipers up there. And then I've already talked about the 4 lettuce containers there. Okay, so that's it. An overview of everything in my plant stash out here on the driveway. I think I did pretty good knowing where all these things are going to go. There's a few things that I don't exactly know where they're going to go, but I'm confident I'll be able to find spaces for everything because number 1, I'm renovating the north side garden this year, so that's going to create opportunities. Number 2, I'm creating a new garden space out in the front of the house, so that'll create opportunities. Number 3, I have this driveway fence project, which is going to create opportunities. Number 4, I have back behind our back fence where I'm doing a lot of pollinator friendly plants back there and a lot of natives back there. So that could be another option for a lot of things. And then I still have undeveloped garden space all throughout the backyard. So I think I'm pretty confident that every single plant I have here, if I had to get it in the ground today, first of all, I'd have to hire a crew to help me. But if I had to decide today where all of these things are going, I could at least do a decent job of laying them out and having every one go somewhere. That would be a good spot for it. So I feel really good about myself. Now I do have some more seeds going inside, but they're not necessarily confidently going to be growing because I'm having some trouble with my indoor setup this year. So I'm not going to share those with you until I know that they're actually going to be happening. So, but I do have a pretty decent idea where those will all go as well. So that's my stash this year. How's your stash? You got a big stash like me, or have you not started yet? I know the folks who are up in the north, you might not have had garden centers open to get your plants yet. But maybe right about now is when they're starting to offer things, so you could go start doing that. And the folks in my climate or warmer, I bet you're way ahead of me. So let me know in the comment section down below what you're up to. What's your stash look like? What are you excited to grow this year? Are you trying new things? Are you doing tried and true? Are you adding a big project? What's going on in your garden? Let me know. I hope I'll see you again in another video real soon, friends. Take care. Bye.